Welcome everybody to today's product update overview webinar. It is a pleasure to have you in such a good number, and I hope you will enjoy today's session with some useful updates on what the product development and product management teams have been up to with the WoodWing portfolio of products. My name is Magdalena Ivanova, and I will be the moderator of this session today. And I would like to first say a few ground rules of conduct. As you have already heard, all of you that are attendees of this webinar are on mute, but you can ask any questions throughout the session throughout the presentations that you're going to preview in the right GoToWebinar control panel underneath the sub menu of questions. We have set aside a couple of minutes at the end of the webinar or at the end of the presentations part to answer, all of your questions. In case we don't have enough time to cover all the questions that you have, we will follow up directly via an email message to you after the webinar. As you already know, all of you that subscribed or registered for this webinar will receive a recording after the live airing. The recording will be sent within 24 hours after the live session ends, and including you that are attending this live session, you will also receive the recording afterwards. If we go to the next slide, I would like to introduce our main panelists or main speakers for today. We have our VP of Product Management and Lead Product Manager, Tom Pijsel. He will be speaking and showcasing the latest product developments and the plans for 2020 for our flagship solution, WoodWing Studio, which is our multi-channel content creation solution. WoodWing Studio was formerly called Enterprise. Many of you know it by that name as well. So I do hope that you are going to enjoy the really insightful presentation and demo from Tom Pijsel. Right after Tom Pijsel is our product manager for our DAM offerings, Jouke Jongsma. He will showcase WoodWing Assets, formerly called Elvis DAM, and WoodWing Swivle. And last but not least is our product manager, Jeff Gapp. He will talk more about WoodWing Connect. WoodWing Connect is our offering of one of the latest additions of our portfolio, and it is about the integration options available within our products, including the webhooks APIs, but also an iPaaS solution. iPaaS is an integration platform as a service, which is powered by Workato. And of course, it offers separate set of integration options for the WoodWing products. Unfortunately, since we have time zone differences, Jeff Gapp is unable to present live. So we have a recording of his presentation that we will play after Jouke Jongsma finishes his end. But if you have any questions for Jeff Gapp and the WoodWing Connect product, you can feel free to ask them in the side panel, and if our product management team, if the rest of the team can answer them, they will. If not, we will direct them directly to our colleague Jeff Gapp. So before further ado, in the next slide, you will see the agenda. And yes, as I mentioned, we are first starting with WoodWing Studio and my colleague Tom Pijsel. Tom, can you hear me? Can you take over the screen?
Yes, I can, and thank you, Magdalena. Yes, let's start with WoodWing Studio. So, Studio allows you to create amazing content in the most efficient way. You can do this in a channel neutral approach, print first approach, digital first approach, and you can easily produce variants of existing stories, articles, or reports, which you can easily adapt and tweak to your liking and for the various print and digital channels. The roadmap for this year is focused around 3 topics. So the first one is creating highly designed digital content. So here we are integrating our Apple News production into Studio, so which allows you to publish content to the Apple News channel. And as part of that process, also other customers that don't publish to Apple News will benefit from this work. Think, for example, of features like digital character styles, which I will show in a bit, and the ability to publish multiple stories at once to a digital channel. Then what we see is that there's a lot of interest in content first or channel neutral content production, so in which you start out in a digital article which is fully structured, and then from there you publish to print and digital channels. But what we see is that you would like to start earlier with your print production, and this is what we are focusing on with Sync Digital to Print. So in this first phase, in this phase of the workflow, you can already place the digital article on layout. Print article is created. In this phase, the print article is read-only because you're still editing the digital article, and any change that you make to the digital article is automatically streamed to the print article, and as such also the layout. But what this allows you to do is already start your print production, so you can start the design work, you can select the images that you would like to use for your print publication while finishing up your digital story. And lastly, what we see is that content does not only consist of images and text and visuals, it also contains a lot of data. And in print, there are a lot of possibilities to create highly designed tables and infographics. And we are now focusing on the digital track as well, so that you from one source can create a visualization of the data in print and other visualization of the data in your digital channels. First use case that we'll be focusing on is tables, or visualizing data in a table. So what have we been working on in the last few months, and what has been released? We released character styles for the digital editor. I will show that in a bit. We released the first part for the Sync Digital to Print. And actually, when you now place a story for the second time on the page, we create a version of the print article instead of a new print article. And this already allows you to update your print article when changes happen in your digital article. Also, what we improved is the indication whether or not you can place articles on the page. So this is also in the Studio web client. You can open a preview of the page, and when that page is, for example, locked by another user or by InDesign server, we now highlight the frames which are locked. For InDesign 2022, I will also show that we released a new file icon set, placed on column, and the ability to disable showing related to shades. I will show that in a bit, and I will also show the additions to the print editor. And then from an administration point of view, so we added a self-service capability to enable and disable debug logging from the user maintenance pages in the Studio server. So in the past, you had to go to your IT staff and update configuration files to trigger debug logging, and now can all do that self-service. What we also made self-service is the configuration of the server name. This is used when opening files in InCopy or InDesign. We added support for RabbitMQ 3.9. And we improved the process for uploading files via the contestation desktop. So this allows multi-part file uploads now, and yeah, depending on your web server, this makes uploading of files much faster and also much more stable. And lastly, we enhance the archiving process. So we now also archive additional metadata like the page range, issue name, section, and issue metadata. But let me show you some of the features in a demo. First thing that I would like to show you is the ability to style your article using character styles. You can find the character styles here in the styling pop-up. You can, for example, use a character style to apply a custom font. Or, so in this case, I update the font. Or I can say I combine it. It's in this case, it's emphasize, which is both a color and a font. So how do you configure these character styles? So the character styles are part of your digital articles look and feel. So here we have the configuration of the look and feel. And here I can create a list of available character styles. So here we have on the left we have the technical name and the display name. Then you might wonder, okay, how do you control the visual effect of the style? And you can do that using CSS. So in this sample, for example, for emphasize, I make the font bold, and I select a different color. Then the next thing that I would like to show you is the ability to configure the log level. So you can find that in the user maintenance page under log level. So per user you can configure this, and you can also see this in the user overview page. For the print editor, we added the ability to have configurable smart quotes, and let me zoom in a bit. So here we see, for example, Guillaumet quotes, which are used in Switzerland and France, and the print editor now automatically converts a quote into this Guillaumet quote. Another very interesting option is the ability to check out the article as long as it's open. So this was already available for the digital editor and is now also available for the print editor. One of the use cases could, for example, be that you have a pool of editors that do reviewing, and then when you open the article, you would like to immediately lock it to prevent that two editors are reviewing a story at the same time. So let me show you the quotes in action. I see that I have a glitch. Let me continue. With another option, and that's with InDesign 2022. So here we see a, for example, the dossier panel and the new file icon set. What we added here is a placed on icon. So this is the same information which was already available in the placed on column, which is the information that you now see in the tooltip. What's very handy now is that you can see which images are already placed somewhere within the issue. Other thing that we added is so already available in the dossier panel is that you see all the dossiers that the layout is part of. So that's the first one. But you also see related dossiers. So if an image is placed from another dossier, also that dossier is shown in the dossier panel. If that's not desired, you can disable that behavior by toggling the Show Related Dossiers option. So what are we working on right now? So bulk publish. So the ability to publish multiple stories at once to a digital channel, but also the ability to publish a story to multiple channels at once. The automated sync, as I explained to you before. We are working on PHP 8 support for the Studio server. And lastly, we are making the theming of the Studio client also configurable or manageable via the management console, so that also that option is fully self-service and that you do not have to edit configuration files. And with that, I would like to hand you over to Jouke.
Thank you, Tom. So maybe you can go to the next slide. So as mentioned before, my name is Jouke and I'm the product manager for both our digital asset management products, Asset and Swivle. Asset and Swivle are our digital DAM solutions, and with the DAM solution you can centrally manage your digital assets across the whole content lifecycle. And we have Swivle, which is our SaaS DAM product. Tom, you can go to the next slide, and then I will go over the key features and improvements which we have released over the last 6 months. So for both Asset and Swivle, we have released a bookmark feature. And this bookmark feature is part of our larger search improvement topic. And with this, we want to improve the overall search capabilities of our DAM products. The bookmark feature was much desired by our larger DAM customers, and with this feature, users can bookmark their current search configurations. This is especially useful for users that are doing the same search over and over again. And besides saving what folders, for example, are selected or what keywords are used, we also save the complete configuration of the user interface. This means that we bookmark what view is selected, what metadata fields should be available, and what sorting is preferred. We also made it possible for users to share their personal bookmarks with others in the organization. And later on, I will show a pre-recorded demonstration of this feature. Next to the bookmark feature, we also made some performance improvements in Assets. And for example, it's now possible to configure the maximum disk space and memory used for processing of larger images. And this should prevent nodes, for example, for running out of disk space. As you all know, or most of you know, Assets works together with our content creation product Studio, which Tom talked about. And files that are now stored in Assets and also used in Studio are now by default prevented for being deleted. In the metadata fields, we now support both a combination of lowercase and uppercase in text. And we also made it possible to configure when uploaded files should be available. And by default, now files that are manually uploaded are immediately available to other users. And this could in some cases, cause conflicts. So this can now be configured. We also made changes to the downloading and previewing of files in share links. And lastly, we have released a new version of the asset agent, and which included some bug fixes and a few library updates. These are all the features and improvements we have been working on the last 6 months for Asset. And currently, the big feature the team will be working on, thank you, Tom. So the current big feature the team will be working on is adding search suggestions to assets. This is also part of the larger search improvement topic, but we are still in the design phase of this feature. But our goal is to make searching for files in assets and also Swivle even more user-friendly and intuitive. For example, by adding Google-like type ahead suggestions or misspelled suggestions. Now you can move to the next slide, Tom. Yeah, thank you. So for our SaaS DAM product Swivle, we also have released the bookmark feature. And as mentioned before, this feature allows users to save their current search configuration. We also made improvements around downloading and previewing files in shared links. And we made it possible to change the default expiring date of share links in Swivle. The default is now 30 days and can be changed to, for example, 90 days. And last but not least, in a week or two, we will add auto tagging to Swivle. And with this feature, users can allow files to be automatically tagged when uploaded. And for this, we make use of Amazon recognition. And on the Swivle side, the next big topic the team will be working on is rewriting the storage engine of Swivle. And with this rewrite, Swivle will be even more future-proof. And let me now finish by showing a demonstration of the newly released bookmark feature.
Let me now give a short demonstration of the new bookmark feature. So the feature can be accessed in the top left corner. In this case, the user doesn't have any saved bookmarks. So let's create one. Let's select the demo folder, and within this folder I want to search for hotels. On the left side we have the filter panel. In this case only the tags field has been enabled, so let's add a few extra fields. We add the status field, extension fields, and we save. Let's now enable within the status fields that we only want to see production ready images. Let's close the panel, and let's also make changes to the sorting. So let's go for sorting by name, and we have now the masonry view. Let's go for the list view. And we can also change what metadata fields should be visible on the thumbnail. So let's change, and let's add the status field and also extension field. We apply, and those fields are now added. The last change we want to make is to the metadata panel. In this case, we have very limited metadata fields, so let's add a few extra. Let's show all the file information and all the general information. So we have now 60 selected metadata fields, and we apply changes. And let's save this bookmark, and let's call it hotels. The hotel bookmark is saved. Let's create another one. In this case, I don't select the folder. I just want to search for groceries in all folders. We can make changes to the filter panel again, so let's add kind and type. And we go for the measuring view. And I'm fine with showing all the available metadata fields. Let's apply the changes, and we will save this bookmark and call it groceries. Save. And now if I would switch back to the hotel bookmark, you can easily see we're back in the list view. We have a limited list of metadata fields, and we have the filtering on extension and tags and status. And let's move to the grocery. You can easily see that the view is changed. In Mason Review, you can see we changed the filters back, and when I select the file, you can see that we again show all the metadata fields. So this is the saving part. Let's now go to the sharing part, and that is being done from the management console. So we don't allow sharing of bookmarks directly between users. That would have caused a lot of extra development work. So the administrator will can now search for the newly created bookmarks, check them, and that means that all users within the development group now have access to the hotel bookmark. Let's also add groceries. The same goes for this bookmark. And the administrator can also make changes to the already created bookmark. So for example, add extra metadata fields, change the sorting, etc. So this is the new bookmark feature. Thank you.
Okay, then next up is Jeff Gapp, who will share more information about WoodWing Connect.
Hi everybody, welcome to the WoodWing Connect portion of the presentation. My name is Jeff Gapp and I'm the product manager for WoodWing Connect. So let's get started. So WoodWing Connect is really all about connecting tools together, systems together. It's really about building integrated processes. So when a user in Studio does something, that activity triggers another action, or it could trigger activity within a planning system or within an artificial intelligence system, etc. And WoodWing Connect is really an umbrella term for the integration options. WoodWing Connect allows you to, through the Workato portion of the tool, it allows you to connect to many different applications for your content creation. And again, WoodWing Connect is this grouping of APIs, webhooks, plugins, etc. The term that I like to use for WoodWing Connect is that it is a bundle of technology and tools. WoodWing Connect consists of Workato, which is a iPaaS tool, a very robust iPaaS tool. We also use AWS tools, and we mix and match the solutions that are built based on the needs of the customer and based on the needs of the integration itself. We use a variety of WoodWing tools as well, of course. We use something called Studio Events, which is available for 10.2 to 10.12 with a plugin. And then, of course, it's built into the core with Studio 10.13 and above. Studio Events is actually a mechanism for creating webhooks, right? So in fact, with our Workato tool, you use the connectors to create the webhook, and then the activity of the user based on that webhook is sent to an endpoint. Same concept exists within Assets and Swivle. Both of those tools have webhooks built into them, so that particular activities of a user will send a notification out to a system, and then that system takes on the responsibility of performing a set of actions. We also use, of course, some tools. Those tools, for instance, are the WoodWing connectors for the Workato piece. The idea with that is of a connector is really to make it easy for a business analyst or a developer within the WoodWing Connect powered by Workato portion of the toolset to be able to go ahead and easily and quickly connect up to Studio, Assets, or Swivle. And then based on that connection, take an activity, such as a webhook coming in, and then create a set of steps. Could be that they get a notification to create a dossier, or maybe create a layout and send it to InDesign Server. There's a wide variety of different opportunities that can be taken advantage of. WoodWing Connect powered by Workato also provides access to a vast range of connectors and recipes. So those are sample recipes that you can take and build upon. The connectors, of course, are very interesting because they're common ways of accessing other systems like a Slack or NetSuite or Monday.com. And the Workato piece also has a marketplace to sell your connectors and your recipes. WoodWing Connect, what have we been doing? Well, we've spent really the last year building out integrations here in the US, right? Replacing a previous technology platform that we had, which has been quite successful in our doing that. And we have also introduced a whole range of new integrations for the customers here in the States. So we're very, very excited with the progress we've made with Connect, and look forward to you seeing those things. The roadmap for Connect, pretty straightforward. We continue to enhance the Assets and Studio Workato connectors. This portion of the roadmap is all about making it easier for users to be able to use those connectors, adding in some more of the API support that we have, and just really trying to, again, refine the connectors and make sure that they're doing the things that we want them to do. We're also working on external Studio integrations. We're focusing on asynchronous use cases for Connect. And lastly, one of, again, another kind of exciting thing for us is default integrations, which is a way of providing a selection of easy to deploy integrations with leading services. An example of that here is where we want to offer a standard type of integration. And in this case, you can think of that as being something like assets and AWS recognition, where when a user submits an asset or selects an asset and wants to tag it, they can do that, and this integration will perform that action for them. These can be purchased and deployed as a standard, well-defined integration, but with limited functionality. Right? Then we want to make these default integrations available to the partners and customers who may take them and customize them around the customers or your own needs. So we'll provide more information about the default integrations soon. As always, follow the latest developments at upcoming.woodwing.com. Once again, thank you, and we hope to talk to you soon. Take care.
Yes, now that was the end of the presentation for WoodWing Connect. Next, we came to the portion of answering the questions you have in the GoToWebinar control panel. I will start with the first question. Can quote conversion be configured on a brand basis? I believe this is a question for Tom.
Yes. So at the moment that is not possible. So you define them on system level, and they are shared between the print and digital editor.
Thank you. Another long lengthy question. Bear with me. Syncing digital and print articles. If I make changes to the digital article, is Studio warning me if any changes lead to, let's say, text overflow in the print article? Or do I have to manually go back and forth between the two in order to make sure that the print article still looks nice and contains all of the text?
Yes, thank you, Sebastian, for this question, and I totally understand the question. So in the digital editor, you will not see a warning, okay, of an offset indicator, because this is really focused on the channel neutral article, and depending on your configuration, you can decide which of that content actually flows into your print article. So that is from a UI point of view, it's quite tricky to overlay things like an offset indicator. But what you will be able to do is open the print article in a separate browser tab. So while you are editing the digital article and the article is being synced, you can watch the preview being updated and see what is happening in the print article. In general, we advise to do the actual copy fitting after you break the synchronization of the article. So then you can do the copy fitting in the print editor, or you can do it in InDesign or in Copy.
Thank you, Tom. There was another question that actually got answered through the demo, and it was regarding our saved bookmarks in Assets or Swivle, just personal or shareable, assignable within Teams. And we already saw from the demo that it's actually the admin needs to assign the action to share the bookmark with the specified teams. And next question for Assets. What new features in Assets other than improved search are planned in 2020? Jouke?
We have currently the search improvements are on the short term, the ones planned. So that's okay. That's on the very near future.
Thank you. Another question from the same attendee, that I can keep the search box free in a bookmark in Assets. It must be possible to use operators and or not in the filters. Are there already plans when this will be integrated? I'm not sure if you understood the question, Jouke. Is it clear? It's regarding, is it possible to use operators with and or not in the filters? And are there already plans for this to be integrated in the search box in a bookmark in Assets?
I think it should already be available, or we allow syntax queries with add and or. I need to double check with the team, but I would think that it's already possible.
Okay, thank you. Well, that was actually the last question that we have for today. As only 6 questions. Unless there are no other questions, or if you have any questions after this session ends, you can always message us directly or always use webinar@woodwing.com as an email address to address all your questions regarding this webinar. I would like to thank our main speakers, Tom Pijsel, Jouke Jongsma, and Jeff Gapp, for their great presentation and showcasing the demos of the new features. And I hope to see you soon in another update from us regarding the product development of our WoodWing portfolio. Wishing everybody a great rest of the day, and hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.